What better feeling in the world is there than the one call close? In this video, we're gonna dig into the 5 steps anybody can follow to get more one call closes. I've done one call closes throughout my career, and in the beginning, a lot of people start thinking, oh, you're just lucky. It's not about luck if you've got a system for it. You know, before you can get a one call close, you gotta get somebody on the phone. So step number 1, creative outreach. Right? What are you doing differently, right? Every single company, if you think to yourself right now, how many spam calls do you get every single freaking day? How many spam text messages or spam emails? Your customers or your prospects, the people you want to be speaking to, are getting the same things every single day to their personal phone, to their work phone, to their personal email. You got to do something different. You've got to have a creative outreach. One of my favorite people that I've been working with recently, one of the account managers that I work closely with, I won't disclose her name, but it's the end of a quarter in her company. And what she did was she sent out what's called a Hail Mary email. And essentially at the end of the day, it was like, she put subject title, Hail Mary. Essentially what the email goes on to do is explain that, hey, it's the end of the quarter for us, and I'm throwing out a Hail Mary. I know we haven't had a chance to speak yet, but I've got some surprising news for you. And then she puts in a GIF, like a GIF, whatever you want to call them, GIF, of a football player throwing the famous Hail Mary play where they throw the football deep down the field and they catch a touchdown, right? Something that will make someone smile. My rule for creative outreach, something you should implement. If you're watching this, write this down. Smile or die. If it doesn't make you smile, don't hit the send button. If it's not gonna make them at least chuckle, you've gotta stand out. Use pictures, use a meme, do something, get their attention, let them know that you're a human and you're not just everybody else that they see out there, you know, spamming them all day. Get them to the table, get them to agree to the meeting, use the different tools you have in the tool belt. One of the most famous tools you can do is creativity. My Uncle Myron, he's incredible. Myron Golden, you should watch all of his videos. He's got a quote that I absolutely love. Thinking is the hardest work most people will never do. Did you get that? Thinking is the hardest work most people will never do. Majority of people who watch videos like this, the majority of people who are prospecting and would like to get more one call closes, but they're not creative enough to write people on the phone, will never send a creative email because it requires thinking. It's not something they can just hit copy and paste on. They can't just wait for some marketing team to send emails. The people who are willing to think, the people who are willing to go outside of the standard things make the most money. The people who are willing to go outside of the box and think outside of whatever they typically do are the ones who are gonna get more one call closes. So the first step, you wanna get somebody on the call first. Get creative, get people to the freaking call. Now, fine, let's assume you already got leads and you got people you can call, but Dwayne, I wanna get one call closes. First thing you should do is consider your next tattoo. If you're the kind of person who likes tattoos, consider getting this as a tattoo. On the back of your hand, put this. What's in it for them? Everything that proceeds out of your mouth when you're speaking to a prospect, when you're speaking to a potential customer, must be about what's in it for them. Well, Dwayne, duh, that's obvious. Maybe not. Here's what I typically hear, and I'm on hundreds of calls every single week. You know what I hear? Man, our product is the best because of X. This feature is so good. Our company has the best service. Guys, they're all saying the same things over and over and over again. If you think your competitors aren't saying their product's the best, you're dreaming. If you think your competitor's not saying their support's the best, you're dreaming. Their customer service is the best, you're dreaming. They're all saying the same thing. What's gonna stand out? You need to stop speaking about your company, your product, your service, and start talking about the thing your prospect cares about, right? What do they care about? Saving money, right? I don't know what it is that you're selling. They like saving money. They're buying your tool or your service to save them time. Talk to them about, hey, this is gonna free you up to spend more time building out your business. Or this is gonna free you up to be able to allow you to spend more time with your family. This is gonna allow you to finally take that vacation, right? Talking to them about what's important to them and less about your features and your products and your service. What's something else people care to hear about? Security, cybersecurity. So many people out there selling cybersecurity tools, but what they wanna hear about is how this is gonna keep them and keep their job safe. This is gonna keep their company from getting hit with ransomware. Don't talk about the different features. Obviously, when you go through a product demo, you do all that. When people buy, they're not buying your feature. They're not buying your customer service. They're buying their desired outcome. Focus on that. That will lead you to much more one call closes. So the first step, creative outreach. The second one, get your tattoo. What's in it for them? That's what you speak about. The third principle, we're flying through this thing. Radical candor. Jack Welch, one of the best CEOs in world history, certainly in the US history. Jack Welch used to be the old CEO of GE. And in his book, he talked about this concept he used to run his organization with called radical candor, which is just a fancy way of saying extreme honesty. The one tool in my tool belt, the one tool you have in your tool belt that almost nobody uses, being honest, telling the truth. This one thing is overlooked, underestimated, when you can just tell people, hey, look, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a behind the scenes look. And you proceed to tell them what the reality is, what's in it for you and what's in it for them, when you can just be candid. Look, obviously, we'd love to do a deal today, but if it doesn't make sense, right? Just being able to have that radical candor. So we talk about honesty, we talk about the secret weapon, honesty. What does that mean? Give them behind the scenes look. Give them a BTS. You ever BTS? Give them behind the scenes look. One of my favorite things to do is say, hey, look, I'm gonna give you a behind the curtain look, behind the scenes look. Sometimes, like let's say you're in software or whatever, Q1 or March is always one of the slower quarters in the software industry. So we're gonna be upfront with you. We're doing a March Madness sale to boost some revenue as we close out the month. So that's the reality of it for us internally. I'm kind of giving you some insight. Hopefully you'll keep it confidential, but here's what's in it for you. Because of that, we're extending the opportunity at a much better rate. We're able to give you this at a much better rate. You're gonna be paying way less money if you're able to take action today. What you get out of it is you get to save money. Because we're in this position, it gets to save you money and you get the same time savings or the same ability to earn more money or the same ability to secure your company for less money. That's the benefit to you all. So I told you the behind the scenes look, Mr. Customer. This is what it looks like for you. Saving a lot more time on something you absolutely want. You told me you need more time in your day. You told me you want to spend more time with your family. This gets you that, and because of where we are as a company, you get to take advantage of that and save some time. Is there any reason you wouldn't sign off before we end the call today, right? Just close them, right? I love closing. It's my favorite thing. But the point is, radical candor. What if you just told them the truth? What? Most people don't consider that. What if you just told them the truth? One of my favorite tactics, when you're telling the truth, maybe you don't go for the close. Maybe you continue to slow roll it until you get towards the end of the call. And you say, hey, look, before I begin to talk pricing, I kind of told you behind the scenes, before I share with you the details of how you be able to save the money. So you open up, you give them the behind the scenes look, and you get the opportunity to ask them, do you even have the flexibility to take action on something if we can extend a special offer to you today that would save you a very significant amount of money? And the reason I ask is I don't want to show you something, just have to take it back. I want to know, do you have the flexibility? What does this do as you're watching the video? What does this do? This qualifies whether this person can be one call closed. It gives you a little bit more detail. It's a soft close. What you're going to find is more often than not, people are going to say, yeah, look, if the deal's good enough, right? If the deal's good enough, I can be flexible if they can. If you're dealing with a nonprofit, you're dealing with a school district, maybe their sales cycle's a little bit longer, they have to go through board approval, maybe they can't. Then you don't have to drop your pants, right? You don't have to go crazy for somebody who can't buy. You want to qualify that. So you give them the behind the scenes look, you tell them the truth and say, hey, does it even make sense? Do you have the flexibility to take action on a very special offer that could save you a very significant amount of money? Like you get to ask them that sort of question. The last thing I would like to remind you as you're going through this process and you're going through and you're qualifying whether somebody can be one call closed based on their buying process is reaffirm, hey, I wanted to reach out to you specifically. This isn't something we're offering to everybody. And obviously if it's the truth, if it's not the truth, don't say it. Many times you're not going to go through every single lead and give them the same spiel. You're hand-picking most times who you're going to extend these special offers to. So if that's the case and you're hand-picking who you're going to try and one call close, who you're going to offer some incentives to take action quickly, if that's the case, say, hey, look, before we do that, I just want you to know this isn't something we're offering everybody. This doesn't come around very often. I showed you why we're extending a special offer for you today. I want you to know that this is something specific for you guys. There's not many of my customers that I'm going to be having this discussion with. I hope you can respect that. Just being very upfront with people. So the third one, radical candor, honesty, so important. One of the most underutilized tools, not just in one call closing, but in sales in general. I think people are so focused on convincing. If you have to convince your customers to buy, that's not selling, right? Your job is to solve problems as a salesperson. Your job is to bring solutions to the table. If you got to convince them, you don't have enough value, or you don't understand what you're offering. You don't understand the value that your offer has. But you should never be in a position where you're convincing somebody to do something that they don't want to do. This is more about unveiling or revealing the value that a person's already looking for and guiding them through that discussion. So number 4, this is going to go against most everything you've probably ever been taught. Detach yourself from outcomes. Well, maybe you're in a position where you absolutely have to close a deal. Maybe you're in a position where you absolutely need the deal. I would suggest to you, I put to you, detach from an outcome. Fall out of love with the idea that this customer has to buy. What's worse than, I don't know, I'm not saying I've been married for almost 10 years now, but maybe when you're single or back when I was single, there's nothing worse or more unattractive than somebody that's absolutely desperate. Doesn't matter how cute or beautiful you are. If you're desperate, it's ugly. Desperation is unattractive and it smells, right? It's stinky. Desperation stinks and people can smell it all over you. If you're not willing to walk away, how valuable is it, right? So there's always the example of, man, the guy who invites a girl to coffee, hey, I'd love to grab coffee with you, right? That's one way to say it. But if it's, hey, you wanna grab coffee? I would love to do it. And the guy who texts her every single day, hey, I'd like to get coffee. You wanna go get coffee? It gets completely obsessive. That's unattractive. That guy's not getting anywhere. But the person, hey, I'd love to grab coffee with you. If you can't do it, I'll live, I'll be okay. That guy's probably got more to offer. He's not obsessed. Don't be that guy, right? So the same goes with your customers. Be willing to invite them to coffee, and they should know, you don't have to say it out loud, but they should be able to tell just by your communication style, by your body language, hey, I'd love to get you to coffee. If you don't want to, if you decide not to get coffee with me, I'm gonna be just fine. That's the reality. If you have anything of value, you don't absolutely have to have somebody buy. You have to be as confident in your solution, confident that you're bringing something to the table, that if somebody says no to you, it says more about them than it does you. That's such a big deal. So the ability to walk away from a deal, falling out of love with outcomes. Your job is to unveil the value of your service, of your product, and guide your customers through that discussion. And if at the end of it, you show enough value, the decision should be easy. There shouldn't be any reason they say no, but you've got to be okay with them saying no, because otherwise it comes off as desperation, and that will absolutely keep you from getting one call closed. Last but not least, this might be my favorite one of all. I probably should have led this. This is the bomb. This is like the secret weapon, right? If I had a suitcase, I'd be opening up my brief suitcase like this, or my briefcase. A lot of you guys don't know what a briefcase is, and that's a shame. Anyway, so pillar number 5, bring in the closer. I said, bring in the closer. A lot of you guys watching videos, you've got a sales manager, right? You've got somebody you can bring in to help you close deals. Some of you guys, maybe you don't have a sales manager, but maybe you've got someone on your team who's highly successful, right? Maybe you've got another team member who's the top salesman. Bring in the closer. I'm gonna tell you a quick story. When I was 19 years old, I used to sell Hyundai, right? I started selling cars, and when I was selling cars, I was the absolute worst. I was in fact making less than minimum wage. I kid you not. I was so bad at selling cars that one week I had the corporate controller come down and talk to me and say, hey Dwayne, we just got in trouble because you're making less than minimum wage, because based on the number of hours you're working each week and the number of cars you're selling, you're actually making less than the legal minimum wage. So you're gonna have to sell some cars, or we're gonna have to figure something out. So I was that bad. So after that conversation, I walked up to the top sales guy. His name was Dino, he's an Italian guy, and I told him, hey, I'm gonna give you every single customer of mine, and I'll split every deal 50-50 with you. I'm gonna give you every single customer. My only ask is you let me sit in the room while you close. Obviously he said yes to that, and after about a month and a half of me paying attention meticulously, watching what his face looked like as he asked the question, studying the questions he asked, listening to his tonality and the way he's phrased things, at the end of it, I started sounding like an Italian guy from New York, and I'm not, clearly. That's how obsessed about it. I wanted to do it exactly the way he was doing it. You know why? Because it freaking worked. So many people get caught up, I want to do it my way. The top guy at my company, he's a little too aggressive. He's a little too direct. It's not my personality type. Okay, what I would say to you is get over yourself. You either want to get better or you do not. Your way has gotten you exactly where you are. And I understood that as a salesperson, as somebody who struggled at selling cars for 2 years, then I finally got it. So after a month and a half of watching Dino, I quickly rose to being one of the top salespeople in that Hyundai dealership, which was the #1 Hyundai dealer in the entire country based on volume, at the age of 19, all because I brought in the closer. That's the point here. You've got a #1 salesperson in your organization. Listen to them close, bring in the closer, ask for help. Bring in your sales manager, listen to them close, ask for help. Let them lock down the deal. If you got somebody on the hook, say, hey, I got someone on the hook, let's bring him in, right? Even if it means you've got to split your deal 50-50. Many of you guys watching wouldn't even have to split your deal. Be open to splitting deals temporarily to make long-term money. The reality is, and this is just like endemic across the world, especially with this next generation, most people aren't willing to suck at anything long enough to be good at anything. What are you willing to do to get to that next level? Are you gonna keep doing the same things you always did? My challenge to you, use these 5 tools, get more one-call closes regularly. Be consistent, get creative, find find ways to make things happen. I'll catch you guys later. Appreciate you watching. Like the video if you like it.